So there's a video that's been making the rounds from Shoe0nhead, but it's called The Male Loneliness Epidemic. The video talks about how young men these days, they're not making that much money, they're dropping out of college, they feel like no sense of purpose, they kind of feel kind of hopeless. It seems to be very much a point all the fingers at the men and tell them how worthless they are and how they're responsible for every single problem in society. It's kind of no wonder that the suicide rate amongst young men is so high and that the birth rates are starting to decline, because you got guys who are living in their room all day, going to work, coming home, and not going out. Because I mean, really, who wants to go socialize? Who wants to go into a mall and deal with all that horse shit? You go to these nice places and you're looking for someone who may or may not treat you well. And the dating apps are even worse, because you know, what are the women all looking for? Is like, oh yeah, I have to be over 6 foot. Well, guys, how many people on this panel are over 6 foot?
You're Dutch.
Okay. Yeah.
The standard is higher.
Yeah.
That's true. I am often like kind of medium height over here.
But none of us makes like, you know, 100,000 a year or anything. The standards are so high that it's like most of us can't meet them.
I watched the video. She was kind of lamenting the fact that it seems like those on the left, they only seem to care from the perspective of how can we indoctrinate and pull these men over to our side to take advantage of them for politics.
The figures on the right are just there waiting, and they're much more open and willing to talk to people and so on. Whereas if you show any concern for men's issues on the left, you'll instantly get branded right-wing and an MRA and whatever else. That's certainly my experience.
This also kind of links into the social media thing. If you piss off one person on the left, they go into auto block mode. All their friends go into auto block mode. So all the conversation that you might have been able to have with the left shuts down immediately. So with nobody to talk to on the left, all you have left is everybody on the right. And this is an experience I've had. When I first got to Twitter, I was definitely harder on the left than I was into the right. The more I would say stuff, and the more the left would attack me for stuff. And I started shutting those people out. They started shutting me out. Eventually, all I had left were the people who I might not have sided with politically, but those people are my friends. They're willing to listen to me, they're willing to have a discussion, and they're just genuinely decent people.
Stuff got very polarized. I'm from '84, so I grew up in the '90s and stuff like that, and like the big thing used to be equality. We're fighting for equality. We just want to be equal. We just want to be the same. These days, we've overshot that mark, and now it seems in a lot of cases it's about revenge. The patriarchy has been in power so long, now it's our turn.
I hate that idea of original sin, and it goes against everything sort of left-wing politics is supposed to stand for. Now we get to be horrible for thousands of years. Well, then you've learned nothing from what happened.
Everything's looked at as through this lens of power, the oppressor and the oppressed. These men can never be the oppressed, so their struggles, their challenges can never matter. You have guys like Andrew Tate who are going to step in to fill that vacuum, and well, you guys ignored them and you don't like where they've gone to. You don't have any room to complain about it because you never cared in the first place.
And you've got no way to reach out to them and bring them back, because all you will do is heap on abuse. Like the term incel, right? It was originally coined by a bisexual woman to describe her own state. It doesn't have to mean anything bad necessarily. It just means someone who wants to be in a relationship and isn't. I think there's a lot of can't win, why try? Why should I struggle through school when nothing is set up to support me and everything is set up to support, you know, women and others? You know, we're failing badly, but nobody cares about us. And if anyone brings it up, you don't get to talk about it or do anything about it. We've kind of strayed around the topic, but loneliness is the main thing, right?
Yes.
You know, you get to a certain age and either you get married and maybe have a family and that becomes your world, right? And you lose contact with everything else outside it, or you're one of the people that doesn't. So that leaves you alone because everyone else has. There's that stereotype of all these, you know, middle-aged white men starting podcasts. Well, it's so they can socialize, for fuck's sake.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home?